Hey, welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. I wasn't going to do another one today, but since they caught the black supremacist Frank James, I'm going to jump on here and because I have a few things to say about that. This whole thing's been a hinky, and it turns out that Frank James, the dirtbag, is apparently a black supremacist. Now, you wouldn't know that there was such a thing as a black supremacist by watching the news or listening to anyone. I'll be interested to see if YouTube leaves this up or if they demonetize the truth. It'll be interesting, won't it? I want to talk a little bit about black supremacy. I'll also talk about white supremacy. I'm going to put up a, and of course I have no, how could I possibly, know anything about black supremacy? I don't, but I have information sources. And how do I know anything about white supremacy? I don't, because I don't know any, okay? I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to put up two articles here over on Patreon. If you guys are not on Patreon yet, you need to be on Patreon. I put so much more stuff up over there than we cover here. And if you care about this stuff, if you really, really care, that's one of the reasons that I put it up so that you will have it. You'll have these articles at your fingertips. You can find them on your own if you so choose. I understand that. But that's kind of the service that we provide for this. We put them up over on the Patreon channel. Links down there. Come join us. So anyway, this guy apparently he has tweeted out a lot of stuff. He had a YouTube channel. A lot of things hinky with this guy, right? YouTube channel. He talked about guns. He talked about all sorts of things, which makes me wonder, wow, they're throwing kind of a wide net. I'm sure that CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, all those morons are just beside themselves that this wasn't a skinhead from Alabama who loved guns and his family and America and the Bible and everything like that, right? And had some of those special flags flying. It's killing them, right? Well, not only that, if we look back, I'm going to bring this around. And this guy, he had a whole bunch of tweets out about Black Jesus, please kill all whiteys and everything like that. You think you're going to see that covered very much? Probably not, except here and on other places. And that's why I'm putting it up. You need to know it. You need to read it. You need to hear it so that you can be representing it to others and taking the truth to others. Please do it. Now, if we go back to that last mass shooter in Sacramento, who was he? He was a black thug. Everybody thought, right, mass shooting, white guy. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm tired of the racism against white people, white males. As a white male, I get tired of being told how horrible I am and how I am the reason for all of the ills in our country, the world, and probably the galaxy. Okay? And I know, guess what? For any of you who don't know this, there are millions more that feel the same way, right? I bet some of you do. So we were surprised to find, was a black fella. The shooting that we had in the school, I've talked about this before, just about a mile from here. And, shooting in a school, I came out like everybody and said, okay, school shooting, this is usually an affluent issue, affluent situation. Probably some white kid shoot them up because we're used to that, right? Why are we used to it? Because when it happens with the white folks, it's all over. Within two hours, we got their picture all over the place. We've got everything in their life, including what they had for lunch in the third grade. No, surprise, surprise. This was a young black fella that didn't even live out in the neighborhood, but had grown up in the hood, came out, and shot the school resource officer and an assistant principal who called him on the fact that he had a gun. Folks, this is real. And I bet there are some people right now who are kind of squirming and turning away and go, ooh, I don't know if I want to listen to any more of this. I'd better turn this off before somebody sees me watching it. Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you who the problem is. I have never met a white supremacist. I've met some white separatists. No, that's wrong. I'm sorry. I did meet I've met 2 white supremacists 30 years ago. 30 years ago. I don't even remember their names. And it was in passing. Okay. I have known some black supremacists. And I'll tell you what some of my black friends tell me. Now, does that make, I just implied that I had black friends. Isn't that like one of those dog whistles? Well, see, he's racist. You can tell he's racist because he said, I have black friends. That is so demeaning. BS. You know what it means? It means I have black friends. And you know what they tell me? They tell me that there is such a hatred among some parts of the black community that most white people have no idea. Now, am I racist for saying that? Am I racist for passing on what my black friends told me about black racists? Give me your opinions. Tell me what you think, as long as this stays up. You know where the problem is? When stuff like this comes out. Now, it just so happens that the last 2 mass shooters have been black, right? The school shooter over there was black. Does that mean that all blacks are bad, or that all bad people are blacks? Only an ignorant racist would think so. Do we really have to argue about that? I lay that out because of what I'm about to say. No, it's an infinitesimally, infinitesimally? Okay, it's a very small segment of society, just as white criminals and mass shooters and thugs and racists and all are a very small segment of the white community. But here's the problem. The problem is this. You know who would be talking to me about this if I was around them today, and saying how this is horrible and this shows what's going on, and this is an indication of what's going on within a certain segment of our society? You know who would be telling me that? My black friends. And they'd be ticked. They'd be pissed. And they'd be talking about it. You know who won't be? White people, my white friends. You bring this up, and they'll be like, no, I don't know, I'm not racist, it's just, you can't, pussyfooting around. You don't solve a problem without recognizing there's a problem and identifying the problem. What's the problem here? I'm not sure what the problem is in these last 2 things. Mind control? MK Ultra, anyone? The feeding of racism to marginal people? The stoking of the racially fired hatreds that was really, really stoked by number 44, because that's when some big divisions were put in. because they want to separate us. They want to separate us. There's a lot more to this story than we know or that we're ever going to find out. I've already seen some very astute comments on this morning's program and from the ones that I put out last night on both channels. But it's because one side, and this is not racial, this is liberal or progressive versus the rest. The one side will sing their song at the top of their lungs. It doesn't matter how big the lie. They'll keep saying it, they'll keep saying it, they'll keep singing it. One person I even read something and somebody said, well, if this guy, this latest one in New York, if this guy felt like if he hated white people because he felt like they hated him, that proves that white supremacy exists. Can you imagine the ignorant mental gymnastics a moron has to go through to twist himself in those kind of progressive knots? Somebody should write that down. Mrs. Snerdley just came in because I was wrapping my pen on the dining room table, and she was afraid I was going to drive a hole through it, so she put a kitchen towel under me. So it won't hurt the table, but do you notice that it's not making the same point that I meant if I went, see?
I was just trying to prevent lots of people complaining.
Oh, she was trying to prevent people complaining about, what's that noise in the background? Because I don't have any paper here to crumple with my formerly nicotine fingers, right? So listen, here's the deal. We don't know what's going on, but a lot of things are going on, and what happens, this is not going to get around. This is not going to get around unless you help get it around. Who do you think is going to make an issue of this? Who do you think is going to get down into the real reasons for these things? That they are trying to start a race war. Now, not this particular guy. I mean, maybe he's. Remember what? What's his name? Oswald said, "I'm a patsy." Well, who knows, right? We know one thing: we won't know. But we can't just sit around and say, let's ignore this because he didn't fit the right profile. He was the wrong color because he wasn't white. And we have a narrative saying, because we want to agree with all of our progressive friends because we don't want to be seen as hateful, that the biggest danger in the world, the biggest danger in America is the white male. You see, there's nothing racist about what I just said. Nothing in the world. I just said that one group should not be demonized, didn't I? Interesting how me saying that one group should not be demonized will be taken as hate speech by others. Folks, will you pass this around? Will you send this out to people? Will you share this with people? Will you please do that? This is how we work against what's being done in our country. Your friends are not going to see this element on the news. They're not going to be, they're going to be hard. You know, if you understand how I feel, if you feel the same way, you know that your friends, when you try to convince them of this stuff, they're going to go, ooh, I don't know. I don't want to hear that. What a bunch of pansies. No wonder this country is going down the toilet. Do you want to support those pansies? By going, oh, okay, let's don't talk about it. What would you like to talk about? Climate change? It's time to get up, folks. Time to get up and get real. It's time to stand up, speak the truth, and let the chips fall where they may. I'll leave it at that. I'm sure there's more to come. Have a good night. Remember, America needs a reversion, or it's going to have something else. It needs you to be a part of the reversion, or else you're going to have to choose whether you're going to be part of the something else. Okay. Thank you, folks. Join us on Patreon if you want to see the rest and support us. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.